Hello viewers, many of you have been asking, am I going to be racing again this year? And seeing as I'm dressed up and here's my race car, yes I am. I'm happy to say that Bilstein are supporting myself, Jimmy and Misha to race again. We're signed guys, we're in for another year, locked in. Here are the dates that we're going to be racing and we're going to have another go at the Nurburgring 24 where hopefully it will go to plan a bit better than last year. The car is upgraded over last year. We've got the Evo M4 GT4. New splitter, a couple of other aerodynamic changes, a couple of other things, headlights as well, which will be good during the night races, of course. In Portimao spec, it sounds incredible. Listen to this. So yes, this is my first session out on the track. A pleasure as ever to be behind the wheel of the M4 GT4 Evo this time around. Now for context of this session, I am on very old tyres. The grip was incredibly low. Might be quite hard to see that, but it definitely was. This guy's grip was incredibly low as well, as you can see by him recovering on the grass. Now we're going to head round to the main straight here. For context of a comparison to last year, my best lap last year was a 51 or 151.4. You see that lap time there was a 57.0. Therefore we're quite a way off at the moment, but this is really just about being acquainted with the car once again, just becoming familiar with how it operates. I mean, it's quite simple really, isn't it? Press the throttle, turn the wheel, press the brakes, and if you want to win, go a bit quicker than all the others. But so we're getting used to it slowly. Our first race in the Nurburgring will be towards the end of March. But it's good to get out on a track like Portimao, where there's plenty of runoff. It's quite a wide track. And lovely conditions, which won't actually last, as you'll see later. But coming into this sequence here, it's a really tricky and technical circuit actually, Portimao. I will show you my fastest lap on near enough brand new tyres later on. And the amount of grip, the difference is actually quite staggering compared to this. Really having to underdrive the car. Anytime you get on the power a little bit too early, it just wants to understeer, wants to oversteer, kind of wants to do everything. And through this, he's struggling slightly to get the nose in, as the elevation change really messes with that as well. Into the last couple of corners here. Feels quite slow and clumsy, I would say. But later on in the video we'll see the difference with the Evo package, see if we can extract any more lap time, as I say, compared to the 151.4 they did last year. Big moment there for the final corner, but just thought I'd show you this as a baseline as we get back out on track for the first time in 2025.
You alright?
Yeah, our grip is so low.
Yeah.
There's like no grip. It's sliding everywhere.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, we've got really old tyres on there, so the car was sliding about.
Are they tired?
The tyres are tired. It begins already. It begins. This is cool. Chevrolet Daytona prototype. No idea what it's doing here, but it sounds good when it's out there. So yeah, really cool to see the Chevrolet Daytona prototype out there on the track with us. Very road car to see, but it's cool to see it. Now we're going to go on board here with our pro driver Manuel Metzger, and yes, we have retained the same 4 members of the team compared to last year. Myself, Jimmy, Misha and Manuel Metzger, our pro. He was here on the first day here, setting a benchmark for the rest of us and really pushing the car to the limits. This was the fastest lap that our car did over the couple of days that we were here, and this is really valuable for other members in the team, for me, Jimmy, Misha. we can watch the replay, of course, and we can get all the telemetry data, so we can see exactly where we're going wrong. Compared to Manny, who is, as ever, very smooth, very fast, and knows exactly how to extract the maximum out of the car. And for reference here, he's on brand new tyres, those brand new soft Falcon tyres, and obviously they're going to have their best life at the beginning of their life, and then I'm going to go out just after this session and try to set my personal best. So as you can see, really smooth coming up to the last couple of corners here, getting into this apex really nice and early. Sometimes there's no benefit to turning in late and trying to get a good exit, you just got to get in there. Likewise for this corner, really an awkward one to get right, as you then power out to the outside towards the final corner, which has a very awkward crest on it, and you have to almost get into the yellow zone on the right hand side to maximise the exit. And it was a good exit, a 49.5, easily the fastest lap. But Manny's going to come in here, so just 3 laps in this session, that's all he needs. I mean, he doesn't even need that, to be honest. And I'm going to head out and see what I can do. As a reminder, my personal best from last year was a 151.4. So let's see if we can try and beat that here. This is about as good as it's going to get. That was my first lap there, 51.9. But this was my best one. So braking nice and late off the brakes to let the car really roll through turn 1. Quite wide on the exit. Hard on the brakes into turn 3. I think Manny got over to the right hand side a little bit more than I did here on the way into 4. And I was able to carry a bit more speed up the hill. As we then head towards turn 5, biggest braking zone on the circuit. For that 100 board, hard on the brakes, over 100 on the pedal, 100 bar that is, as the car just, it feels so much better with the brand new rubber. It is like night and day difference. It might not be easy to see, maybe it is, but it just goes in so much better to the corners. When you turn, when you accelerate, it doesn't want to oversteer, understeer. When you have those old, awful tyres, it just doesn't do what you want it to do. And now we have so much more confidence, taking a narrow line there into the corner at the top of the hill. And it just goes in. It feels so much more compliant. It really is a good feeling when you're driving the car on maximum attack with good tyres. So these tyres, I mean, 3 to 4 laps old, and it doesn't sound like much, but I think when you do 3 laps, come in, let the tyres cool down a bit, you do lose some performance when you go back out. So this is going to be my best lap. Are we not quite into the yellow zone there as much as Manny was doing, so maybe losing a little bit of time through that final corner. But coming up to the line, it's going to be a solid 50.7. Now I feel like maybe half a second of that could have been down to the tyres going off slightly. So I think maybe a low 50 in absolutely optimal conditions. So something to work upon, but that is 7/10 better than I managed last year. So there is a trend in the right direction. Now you don't often get to really battle anyone on these test days, but we had a nice little fight here for a couple of corners with this Porsche before they pulled over and the fight was done. That was a good session. I was very happy with it. Now this was something I wasn't expecting, and that is wet weather. When I headed to Portimao, I was expecting to be basking in sunshine the entire time, but that's not quite the case. Sometimes it does actually rain in southern Portugal, believe it or not. So here we are on the wet tyre with, I mean, let's say mixed conditions. It's not an absolute deluge, but certainly a different challenge compared to the full dry. And typically in this scenario, it's a case of turning your traction control up slightly and then driving a slightly wider or sometimes slightly narrower line, basically off the normal rubber. For example here, just driving very wide to get the extra grip on the outside on the corner of the top of the hill, and again slightly wider here. Whether or not that's the actual line, I'm not sure, but it felt like when you drive on the normal racing line, grip was very hard to come by. So it was a fun session, and even though, you know, we're not really driving Portimao this year, it's always a nice lesson in car control and just feeling familiar with the car in these conditions. We do have upgraded traction control on the Evo version of the car this year, but that didn't serve me well here. I mean, that was more just pure driver error. Look at this. I mean, I'm turning left into a right-hander. You love to see it, guys. But we kept the car under control. No big damage bill to report off, which is always preferable. A little bit later on in the session, again finding some traffic, and I felt like for the hairpin, obviously the normal racing line's on the far right-hand side, but you want to go kind of slightly narrower here. You can actually still brake really late and get the job done. This guy going really wide, not sure you need to go quite that wide. We'll get the job done, and session was over.
Okay, viewers, there we go. Bilstein coming in clutch with another year of racing. I'll see you at the Nurburgring.